In this episode of Teslacam Stories.
Wham bam Teslacam, I hope you're satisfied. Never thought we'd get this far, but this is episode 69.
This clip submitter was driving her Model 3 behind a small truck on the national highway in Taiwan when all of a sudden this happened. A flying piece of plywood cut a big hole in the front window on the passenger side of the Tesla, but the driver was luckily alone in the car at the time and she escaped without any injuries. She's glad the Tesla's window was strong enough to avoid shattering, but the cabin was still sprayed with dust and small shards of glass. She called the police, who quickly arrived at the scene, and by reviewing the Teslacam footage, they were able to identify the truck. When they confronted the driver, they learned it was a rental truck, and they suspect that the driver hadn't even tried to secure the cargo. After being questioned by the cops, the driver of the truck was fined for endangering the public. The submitter says it was a shocking experience that started a long process involving lawyers and insurance companies trying to sort out the problem of repairing the damage. She's glad she's okay, and she's grateful for all the people who stopped to help. This clip submitter was driving his Model 3 in Sacramento, California. The roads were a bit wet thanks to some rain. As he was turning left through an intersection, a BMW next to him lost control and hit the driver's side door of the Tesla. The BMW jumped over the median to the other side of the road. It almost looks like the driver was still on the accelerator. There was extensive damage to the driver's side door and front wheel of the Tesla that took a month and a half to fix. Andrew was driving his Model 3 to work in Brisbane, Australia. That's when he witnessed a driver who was either trying to evade the police or who was late to a coffee date. He sent the video to law enforcement just in case it wasn't the latter reason. Joseph had parked his Model 3 outside the University of Mississippi when a guy walked up and kicked it for no reason. What the guy didn't know was that Joseph was actually in the car waiting for his sister. He jumped out and confronted the young vandal. The guy's friend didn't hesitate to rat him out, shouting, "It was him!" Yeah, we know that. So does Jacob, and so does Sentry mode. The guy who kicked the Tesla didn't even notice Jacob, he just kept on walking. It looks like he was either being remotely controlled or he was very drunk. Joseph inspected the car and didn't find any damage, so he didn't bother chasing the guy, or trying to find whoever was remotely controlling him. Jonathan was driving his Model 3 late one night in Norway when he witnessed someone crash an electric scooter. Jonathan stopped and made sure the guy was okay. He says the man's reaction was exactly like the time that Peter Griffin on Family Guy fell and hurt his knee.
Ah! 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 Ah!
Steve had just picked up his brand new Model 3 and decided to take it up a mountain to take some photos. On his way there, a dust devil strong enough to carry rocks formed right in front of his Tesla. He didn't have time to swerve to avoid the attack. The Tesla got sprayed with rocks, which ended up chipping the paint on the hood. Steve knew he should have gotten the front paint protection before taking a trip up the mountain. He's decided to get the Tesla wrapped now. This isn't the only story we've got of wind causing problems for Tesla owners. Margie had parked her Model 3 far away from everyone in an empty part of a parking lot in Leesburg, Virginia. She always parks far away from others to prevent door dings or other damage to her Tesla, but she couldn't have expected this to happen. A gust of wind blew the awning off a Buffalo Wild Wings restaurant, and it landed directly on the hood of Margie's Tesla. The wind swirled it around, slamming it into the hood, the front bumper cover, the driver's side, and the roof. Thankfully, this nice lady ran over and moved the awning. Otherwise, the damage would have been much worse. The manager at Buffalo Wild Wings is filing an insurance claim with their company. Margie sent us these pictures of the damage. Her car has a color shift dip, and it looks like the dip took the brunt of the damage and spared the factory paint underneath. Jim was driving his Model Y in Bonnie Lake, Washington. He didn't understand why traffic was moving so slowly until he saw cars swerving around something on the road up ahead. It wasn't until he got closer that he discovered it was a mother duck with her ducklings slowly crossing the heavily trafficked road. Once the ducks crossed the divider, the oncoming cars struggled to stop in time to avoid them. One car locked up its brakes and had to move over to the shoulder with tires smoking to avoid a collision with the web-footed waterfowl. In the left repeater camera, we can see the ducks casually crossing the road, oblivious to the massive traffic jam they've caused. David's son was driving his Model 3 home in San Diego, California. At a traffic light, a white Mustang decided to move into the leftmost lane to get the pole position next to a Model Y, an unfortunate choice in this case. When the light turned green, the Mustang shot into the intersection and immediately got nailed from the side by a truck that blew a red light. I sure wish we could see the Teslacam footage from the red Model Y that was inches from the accident. When David's son got home, he told him about the accident, and David quickly ran out to the Tesla to save the video clip. He then sent an email to the local police informing them of the video in case it was needed. This isn't the first time David's Tesla has witnessed an incident at a red light while around other Teslas. On another occasion, while David was stopped at a red light, he heard screeching tires from behind. Instinctively, he accelerated forward a bit to give the oncoming car more space. Only later, when he reviewed the video, did he realize that the SUV that almost hit him had jumped over a car that pulled out in front of it. We can see that the front right wheel is not looking too good. David's glad they recovered control and were able to stay in their lane and safely stop. Barry was on his way to lunch in his Tesla and had to stop at an intersection. While waiting for traffic, he noticed something odd out of his side view mirror. The driver of the truck that pulled up behind him rolled down his window and tossed a cup out onto the road. Barry believes he was aiming for the bed of his truck, but he managed to miss completely. Nick had parked his Model Y outside his local store in Arvada, Colorado when the cart demon struck again. Cue up the dramatic music, please. The loose cart was deflected by another car, causing it to narrowly miss Nick's Tesla. The other car wasn't so lucky, but the other driver didn't even bother to check for any damage before leaving. Sebastian, his wife, and their 7-month-old daughter were on a trip from Cologne to Essen in Germany in their Model 3. While waiting at a red light before getting on the Autobahn, they noticed a modified pickup truck. Sebastian warned his wife that this type of truck was typically used to roll coal on Teslas. She laughed and said that things like that don't happen in Germany. She checked the Instagram banner on the back of the truck and found his profile. His bio read, "Diesel lover, German redneck, Ford F-250 7.3-liter diesel." When they got on the Autobahn, Sebastian had a gut feeling that the pickup driver was going to pull some shenanigans. He decided to speed up and, sure enough, the truck started farting dinosaurs. This sort of thing is very uncommon for cars in Germany, as there are strict environmental regulations for vehicles. Sebastian joked to his wife that the truck will go on a hunt for Teslas. Sure enough, minutes later he spotted the truck in his rearview mirror. Thanks to the Wham Bam Teslacam channel, he was prepared and activated the cabin air recirculation just as the truck started to pass them. A moment later, the truck started the German version of rolling coal, but without successfully affecting Sebastian. He sends a thank you to Wham Bam for preparing him to protect his young daughter from breathing that diesel exhaust.
Oh Lord, won't you buy me a cyber truck? My friends all drive diesel, I must make a